All right, welcome everybody. I'm sorry I can't join you today, but Dr. Bose will discuss some of the clinic items with you, and I wanted to be here this way with you and talk about NPLEX and a few other topics. So welcome again to Phase 2 with some great new priorities. One thing I want you to be crystal clear on is that this website, nabni.org, is your go-to spot for information. If you hear something from a fellow student, great, you can all teach each other, but this is where you should find out about NPLEX, is from NPLEX's official website. You want to keep an eye on dates, eligibility requirements. I will show you some salient things right now. One thing is important dates. I just accessed this today, which is May the 8th. So you want to keep your eye on these dates, such as when can you apply, when is the actual exam, when can I check to see if I'm going to be admitted to the exam, etc. A couple other things here. You can take Part 1 now. I imagine a lot of you will do it this August, which is a little challenging because it's week 14 or something like that for us. You may do it in February as well. I have not heard from students that waiting necessarily helps them. And I do want to address something about the nature of NPLEX. I'm very involved with it and have been for some time. It is not a general knowledge quiz. It is a sampling of certain basic science concepts that are mapped to competencies. And so spending more and more time to take clinical sciences classes because you believe you can expand your knowledge, it may help you read certain things 2 or 3 times again, but you're never going to know everything that they could possibly ask you on NPLEX. It's not that kind of instrument. It's a sample to see if you're able to take your basic sciences from the classroom or lab up into clinical work, namely an internship. So please, I really implore you to come to the NPLEX overview that Isabella Dubeck, the registrar, and I and financial aid put on. There'll be one of these in May, and there'll be one of these in November. Also, please come to any NPLEX preparatory meetings that we have. There's been an interest in having them by some students, so we've begun to do them again. It's really important, and students often don't know the fundamental things about how the exam works. There's no need to be surprised about what it is. So please come to the overview. We'll get the word out about the exact date for that in May. And please contact me if you have any questions about that. So keep your eye on the application. Here's the schedule for August the 6th for Eastern sites. And that includes Glen Ellen. So as you can see, it's a pretty full day. You definitely want to get in there, be there a few minutes before 9 and line up for registration. They'll have other information for you about what you can or can't bring. Here's an example of Part 2, which you won't have to deal with yet. But this is actually 3 days long, so here's what Day 1 looks like. So registering is between you and them. There is one thing that we will do for you, though. There's a part that we play. Once you've completed the registration process by the end of May, if you're doing the August NPLEX, we will get a list. We at National will get a list of everyone from NUHS who has applied, paid their fee, etc. The registrar will verify that you have completed your basic sciences. Sometime in the future, they'll, when you go to do Part 2, we'll verify that you have graduated. But this time that you've completed all basic science courses, we will do a personalized letter that attests to that fact, and we will send that letter to NPLEX. We also scan it and email it just for an added layer of knowing it got there. And we try to do that as soon as we can. Mind you, it's going to be a few weeks into June before we get the list, and then we have to verify and send out the letter. So we will get it out well before the deadline, but you can start to go into your profile on NPLEX, log in, and see if you have essentially an admittance letter, which is like your passport to get into the exam room. You're going to download that and print it, I believe, or whatever they tell you to do. So we will get that verification out. The rest of the process is between you and NPLEX. So it's just like dealing with the licensing board or any other kind of agency. It's your professional obligation to deal with them effectively. We are always happy to help you answer questions, and if you come to that information session, we'll actually show you some of the steps and talk financial aid, etc. So, are you going to do acupuncture in the future? There is an add-on for acupuncture. If you plan to go to Arizona or Kansas or north of the border to Ontario, it may be worth doing. Please come and see me as soon as you possibly can if you're planning to do that. I'll just jump ahead a little bit here. If you're going to do it, you need 220 hours of classroom and lab and 30 hours of hands-on needling in the clinic. We can provide both of these. There is currently a plan that may change over time, but here is how you would get your 220 hours. We have 100 hours beginning that has the clean needle technique and some hands-on needling. Then there's point location and clinical strategy classes, which the master's program will allow you to take once you've got this 100 hours. When you have this finished, particularly the 100 hours, with the clean needle technique, we can make arrangements for you to get some experience in clinic. Do not leave this until the last minute. Here's the jurisdictions, the states, and what they require as of today, the way it's listed on NAVHDA.org. And you can also see, pharmacology, which you don't need extra coursework for, minor surgery, which you don't need extra coursework for. This one is not core curriculum for us, for Bastyr, for Bridgeport, for NUNM. So, but you won't have to go somewhere else. We can get this to you here on campus. So that was the gist of what I wanted to point out to you. This is probably best communicated from me to you in a private meeting, so you're absolutely clear about acupuncture. Please do not go on hearsay or what anyone else has to tell you about the acupuncture. Come and see me. Similarly with the NPLEX, I really advise you to take the blueprints, open it, and we have a great series of resources for you on how to craft a study strategy that goes along with the blueprints that we've made here at National. If you're interested in any kind of discussion about that, we're happy to share. Your time is limited, so you have to use your study time really effectively. And please come to our orientation in May. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this orientation. Thanks a lot.